so now that we have talked about how to choose your prong collar, what size to get, and kind of how it should be fitted to your dog, high on the neck, preferably right behind the ears, and pretty snug so that it's not sliding way down. We're going to talk about how to introduce it to your dog. So Russell here has been on a prong collar, so he understands it, so he's going to probably be responding to it a little bit better and a little bit faster than a brand new dog would. And so I'll explain a little bit more about that, but I didn't have a green dog with me to make this video with, so but that's okay. This is not difficult stuff. It's pretty easy to understand. So all you're going to do after you put it on, if you have a dog that's really wild and you know is going to dart, you know, out ahead of you through doors and that sort of thing, kind of be ready for that. So I usually, you know, just for the first couple minutes after I put it on, at least I like to kind of soften the blow if I know the dog is going to run and hit the end of the leash real hard. So I'll kind of move with them a little bit to soften that up. Because if they do get a firm pop, that's very corrective, which is fine. But first we kind of want to teach them about the prong collar and what it means and what makes that happen. So I like to give them an association with pressure and release first. So you'll just pull and apply pressure, and when he moves toward you, relax the pressure. And that's it. I'm just going to do a bunch of that, and you're going to kind of walk around with pressure here. I'm going to increase it. Increase. Good. When they come with you, as soon as they move toward you, they don't have to come all the way to you. As soon as they move into that pressure toward you, make sure you fully relax and praise the dog. So they're learning, and it's doing those small motions over and over again. That's what will rewire their brain to respond instantaneously like that when they feel the pressure. And we want them to respond to the lightest amount of pressure possible. So you'll just gently increase until they respond. So you don't want to start out tugging really hard. You want to be fairly gentle, but you want it to be not a pulling motion, but just pressure. Good. Good. So, and Russell's pretty good, so he's following me around here. Pressure. Good. So I'm kind of exaggerating that motion because I want to really emphasize that you got to fully relax. So we don't want them to feel anything around their neck, any pressure, any tension at all when they make the right decision and move toward you. Good. Good. Good boy. So I'll let him kind of sniff something so it looks a little bit more like, come on sweetheart, good. A little bit more like a green dog that hasn't done this before. So right here I'm going to apply pressure. Increase, increase. Good. He comes toward me, release the pressure, apply it again. Good boy. Good job. Good. And that's it. And then when you start walking on the prong collar, I usually recommend that you have a short leash. So if you're going to walk like this, just expect trouble, and your dog doesn't have any training yet. So nice short leash, but super important that it's loose. So I'm not going to walk like this, okay, which is what most people are used to because they're used to hanging on for dear life. It has to be relaxed. But I want it to be short so that if I have to give him information, I'm not flailing my arms around trying to engage the collar. It's really easy to engage the collar if it's nice and short. And if you have a somewhat sensitive, responsive dog, you might be able to even get away with just using your fingers like this to engage that collar. And sometimes that's all it takes. But so nice and loose and short, and just walk. And this isn't a formal heel, this is just walking. Okay, and then pressure, and then relax. So if he gets ahead of me, I'm gonna flick it, or pop it a little bit. Let's go. Russell probably won't, because he does know a heel, and he knows he's supposed to be nice on a leash. But if my dog gets ahead of me, like that, So it's a pop. So it's not a pull your dog back. It's a little bit of a snappy action, either up or toward the back. Good. Good boy. Good. So I like to teach my dog too that when they feel gentle pressure up, that I'm asking for a sit. So we're going to do that. Pressure up, sit. And then as soon as they sit, you relax all the pressure. That relaxation is critical whether you're walking or you're asking them for a behavior. Break. Good boy. Pressure up, sit. Good. And before you know it, you won't even have to say sit. You can just do gentle pressure up and your dog will sit nicely. Good boy. Let's go. Good. And so if he got ahead of me, or if he started fixating on things in the environment, if you have a reactive dog, as soon as they lock on to something and they start paying more attention to that than you, that's a good time to give them a little pop. Now here comes my horse, which might which might get a reaction that I can then give him some information. No. Totally normal. And so when you're walking, my general advice is, if your dog gets ahead of you, and you have to have an idea where your line is so that you can be consistent and you want to stick to it. If your dog starts to get ahead of you, if they start to stare and fixate on things in the environment, especially if they're reactive, or if they sniff the ground, or sniff anything, really, when you're walking, that's when I give them a little pop. Okay? Now, how intense your pop is depends on the dog. So some dogs are really sensitive, and like I said, just a flick of your fingers to engage that collar is going to be enough. Some dogs are a lot more escalated, or a lot more pushy, a lot more overstimulated, and it's going to take a lot more action. But it should be a nice, quick, snapping action that really engages that collar only for an instant. And then it should immediately shut off and you should go back to being relaxed. If you walk your dog on a prong collar with it engaged, with leash tension, they may very well learn to just pull you down the road like a truck. I've seen it happen. It's not uncommon. And also your corrections won't be very effective because your collar is already engaged. It's engaged all the time. So the idea is you're walking around essentially with nothing, no leash tension at all. And then the only time it is tense is when you're giving your dog information and talking to them with your leash. Otherwise, it should be relaxed. And that's it.